What's up, YouTube? What's up to all you inspiring producers out there? I'm Visa. I'm your number one music teacher in FL Studio. And today we about to make another awesome tutorial. Now today's tutorial, we're going to be doing a remake of my very first tutorial. Now let's go check it out on YouTube. The name of that tutorial was how to make an epic trap beat with 808 Rumble mixing and mastering. Now that tutorial was an hour and 30 minutes long. Let's check the stats. 441 students enrolled in my class just off of this one video, and 221 days was watched. So let's jump back into FL Studio. Now I noticed a lot of people been having problems with music theory, so I'm going to cover all that today because people be thinking that I'm guessing my notes and they trying to figure out what is he doing, what's the system. Now before we get started, I like to say this. FL Studio is a revolutionary program. They allow you to make a wide range of beats in a wide range of genres. And with that said, with them building this program where all you can do, you can make a beat, you can mix a beat, you can master a beat. They got all these many different softwares in there. A lot of people is having problem with the music theory part. Even though FL Studio is a revolutionary program, but they're not going to teach you basic music theory. That's something you got to learn separate. My teacher told me no matter what you do, be a revolutionary. So with that said, I'm going to help people out on their music theory. Just for this beat though, I'm going to teach y'all a trick. Because a lot of people on that first tutorial was telling me that your song is out of key and you're bouncing around and they trying to figure out what I'm doing. That's because they haven't learned the basics of music theory. Now also, another one of the problems people been having is they were saying that the sound texture is off or it sounds bad. The quality of the video was bad. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and remake all that. I admit, it's bad. They said the mixing is bad. Okay, I admit that. The mixing is bad. So all these things you telling me that is bad, we're going to fix it today. We're going to fix it right now inside of this tutorial. And reason why we're going to fix it is because, god damn it, I'm a revolutionary. And inside this tutorial, it's going to be a banger. I changed up a few things. I took some parts out. I added some parts. But the foundation is pretty much the same. Now, if you want to see all parts and all segments of this tutorial, you can buy it now on DVD for only $24.99. It's worth the money. Trust me. We're going to be going in today. And if you're trying to increase your sales on selling and leasing beats, you most definitely want to get this DVD. Because I'm going to show you what to do and how to do it. And I guarantee your sales on lease beats will go through the roof. Another question that I've been getting lately is, can I use this beat? Can I rap on this beat? And can I lease this beat on my end? Yes, I'm giving everybody the rights to use this beat. And the reason why I'm giving you the rights to use this beat because when I upload a tutorial to YouTube on how to make a beat, it's for everyone to use. But there is some rules. Warning. As far as selling the exclusive rights, everyone will have the same beat, so you cannot sell the exclusive beat unless you remix or remake the beat in your own way. But on your end, leasing this beat is okay. And a final thought, don't try to claim this beat as your own original music because it is not. You did not make this beat, so don't go off saying, yeah, this is my beat, because I had a couple people try to do that to me. So with that said, let's get into it, goddammit. Okay, open up FL Studio. Click Control S to save it. Name it. I'm calling it Trap Legends. Now, the first thing we want to do is go over here to Options. Project Info. I'm using FL Studio 10. So I'm going to call this. And you see all the genres? I'm going to click hip hop. author, producer, sound designer, engineer, Visa Beats. And down here, URL. And now we done. So we close that out. Tempo. The original beat tempo was in a 66. Today we're going to be making this beat in a 62. So left click, drag it down to a 62. The two plugins we'll be using today is Nexus and Purity, as you see on the screen. Nexus is my primary plugin that I always use. And before we open up our VST, let's go to my music chart so I can teach you about major scales and minor scales. A quick lesson on basic music theory. So here's the chart for the B major scale. Now, a scale is a series of notes pitched on an octave. So the series of notes that's inside the B major scale, let's look at it. Let's go over them together. Are B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and returns back home to B. Each major scale has a relative scale. And B major scale relative is a G sharp minor. And relative scale means that a major scale and a minor scale share the same notes. Now, within a major scale, you can find out what is the relative scale by counting the 6 notes. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So every 6 notes on that major scale, you can find the related minor scale. So let's go to the G sharp minor. And make sure you write down these notes. So in a G sharp minor scale, which is the related scale to B major, is a G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, and then returns back home to G sharp. Don't you see how this shares the same notes? So you can bounce around between these two scales and always stay in key because they share the same notes. And this is one of the Visa Beats ultimate music theory secrets. Combining two scales. Also, what I want y'all to do is make sure you most definitely write this down. Add this to your music vocabulary, because the producers and the creators of FL Studio not going to design the most awesome software for you and then come home at night and teach you how to play piano or teach you notes on a piano or teach you chords and scales. So that's not about to happen on their end. So now that we have the notes that we're about to use, let's go ahead and jump back into FL Studio. Now we're back in FL Studios. We want to go up here to Sampler, right click, insert, Nexus. Click Nexus again. Go to the channel settings, MISC, turn this back, the volume knob, back 1 notch. Click plugin. And if you want to change the skin of Nexus, go to SYS, GUI skin, build killed, supposed to be kill build. But I like black good. And then you go back over here to library. Now we want to start on our low chords. Now what we want to do is go to our dance orchestra. The last video I used the Victory Brass. I can see why some people weren't saying it wasn't meshing well. But this time we're going to switch it to the Jurassic Brass. This right here. Right click. We want to rename and recolor. Right click, then piano roll. Now, click the magnet. Make sure to say 1/4 a step. And for the low chords, we want to go bar to bar. And the scale we will be working in is a G sharp minor. So let's do this. We're going to start on G. So we're going to be going bar to bar. So that's a G sharp. The next note, G sharp 4. So the next note will be a D sharp 4. So let's go down right here. The next note that's with inside the G sharp minor scale is an E. Look at that piece of paper. Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Now the next note we want to play will be a C sharp 4. Right here. I want to pull this back a little bit. Right here. The next note will be back to an E, E4. And the next note will be a D sharp 4. I push 1. Now what you want to do is Control C, Control V, and then Control down. You want to add depth to it. Let's play it. Control S and save it. Very good. Now you want to come out of here. You want to right click this, insert, or we can do this, right click. We can clone that. And now we want to do the piano. Let's see, right here. The last time I used the Ballad Grand Piano. I like this piano a lot because it pretty much emulates a real grand piano. But for this video, the texture that I want to use is soft and tiny. Because we're going to switch up some of the sound textures, but we're going to use our same foundation. So right click, rename this to piano. And for this beat, we're going to make the piano our background melody. Let's go right click, piano roll. Now the scale we're going to be working in is a B major. And now if we go back to our chart, you know the notes inside of a B major. We have a B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. And then back down to B. But you notice that it's pretty much mostly the black notes. So here we go. So we're going to start on a B5. And make sure it's still in 1/4 a step. So we got this. We got 3 notes. Now you want to come down here to F sharp. Put a note there. Now we want to move up to C6, C sharp 6, meaning the 6th octave. And then another F sharp note here. Now we want to go up to E, which is also still in our scale. Come back down here, so you get something like this. Now we want to jump up to a G sharp. and now back down to a E6 or E, 6 octave. Now, if you just starting off music, you may not understand this, but I didn't cut no corners. I used a major scale and I used the related scale, which was the G sharp minor scale. So you can jump around like this because in theory, you're still in key. So let's take this, highlight this, hold down Control key, hold down Shift B, and with your mouse, you can drag it over. And you can drag it over again. We're going to drag it over 4 times. So hold down Shift B and drag it over. Before I play it back, I want to turn down the low chords. Control S and save it. We don't want to humanize the velocity, not just yet. So next, we want to open up our second VST, which will be Purity. Right click, insert, Purity. Now we're going to add some flavor on to this beat. So go to your channel settings, MISC. Should I click the right one? Here we go. Turn that back 1 notch. In FL Studio, it's not like just playing a piano. We playing a bunch of different instruments and a bunch of different sounds. So let's right click, go to lead synth and find simple square. And we can rename that. So let's go to the second bar. The second bar and the fourth bar will be the same. So let's go to the third beat, and we want to go back to our B sharp minor scale. So we on this that G sharp, and now we want a B. Just follow my steps. And now we want an A sharp right on down here, because we got to spice this up. Control C, Control V, and we want to pull that over right here. Highlight them all, hold down the Control key, Shift and B together, and we want to pull this on over. Got to go over some more right here. Now let's play it. Control S and save it, and you see how we just kept the song in key. We use the G sharp, A sharp, and then we use the B, still in our same scale. Now we're going to design the lead for the verse and the hook. So right click on Purity and clone. Right click on simple, what is that? Simple square. I believe it's in Fast Synth, and click multi-purpose, number 57. Rename this. You can call this hook lead synth, because this is synth we're going to be using for our hook. So the first note, we're going to start within our scale, that G sharp. Let's bring it down some. May have to turn this up just a bit. The next note will be an A sharp. You see, I don't really need these ghost notes anymore. And let me tell you why you don't need them anymore. Because you know what scale you're working in. But I just do this because it's easier for people to follow and to stay in key. But if you know your scales and your basic music theory, you wouldn't have that problem. The next note will be a B in the 6th octave. And then we're coming back down here to the A sharp. Let's do it like this. And then the B6. And then, so we got this to start with. Yeah, this is something I'll add to this beat. This. The next part of this section, we'll be doing the drums and the percussion. And if you need a really good drum kit, buy my Visa Beats 8-Rank Drum Kit Volume 1. It's inside this video description. Real good drum kit, real good clean sounds. So now, let's go to pattern 2. Nothing there. You can draw a block in here. Pattern 2. Let's go ahead and add in our hi-hats. And I'll be using everything from this Visa Beats 8-Rank Drum Kit Volume 1. So let's drop that hi-hat right on in. Let's right click, rename, recolor, give it a new color. Take this pan knob, see where my mouse is, pan it to the left. And as you pan it, you will see the numbers right here in this little box, rectangle. See? So we want it around 16 to 20%, and bring the volume down. Right click or F2, rename this to hi-hats. Drag these all the way across. Right click, send to piano roll. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. Want to move it. Now we want to make the notes on this back end really small. You want to do 5 notes, or those really small ones. Now you want to right click, note pan. Hold down the right key, hold down the right click and this will give you a straight line. Turn that back to the center. And we want to do this as well. Now when we play it, we're not through with the hi-hats just yet. We want to humanize the hi-hats to give it a more realistic feel to it, as if a real person was playing the hi-hats. So let's right click, piano roll, and we want to randomize it, the notes, the velocity. So what we want to do is we want to click Alt R at the same time. Opens it up. It moves the velocity knob one notch over. You can play around with it. This is so we won't have to touch each note by hand. Also, you can click seed and it will give you a variety of different inputs. See? You can find one that you're comfortable with and click accept, and we good to go. Now let's go ahead and drop the kick in. I'm going to use my very clean kick right there. Give it a color. And I'm going to key it in. Here we go. Make it bigger. I'm just going to repeat this pattern, but add variations to it. You can design this pattern any way you want to. I'm not going to hold that against you. Now let's go in and add in our 3x oscillator. The 3x VESA Beats 808 oscillator. Now, if you do this, right click, insert 3x aux, you'll get this. People were saying this oscillator don't work right. It's because you got to fine tune it and fix it up so you can get it to work right. My 808 from the 3x oscillator, I customized it. So this won't work. So don't try this because people been having that problem. So we're going to close this out. And if you want the 3S oscillator, you got to buy my VESA Beats 8-Rank Drum Kit Volume 1 for $15 USD. So here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, edit, copy, right click, edit, paste, and I'm going to play around with the notes just a bit. I know I want something pull this all away. Making sure everything's centered. I don't want no mistakes. Here we go. We want to do this warp base effect, or what you want to do. What we're going to do is this warp base effect. We're going to make it slide up, slide down. And we use the sliders right over here. Let's see how this sounds when we play it. Now the next step is to track out everything, especially our melodies. If you got a real bad computer, you don't want to have these VSTs open while we open up the plugins that we need to use when we start this mixing. It's going to slow down your computer. So let's go to pattern 1. Solo out everything. If everything's turned on, just click this, solo it out. And the first thing I'm going to start with is the simple square. And make sure this is on pattern and not song. So play it. Just to make sure everything is off. Very good. Control R is to export it as a WAV file. We got to go to our tracked out folder. Right click, new if you need a folder. I already have one. And I'm going to call this simple square legend. And then start. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish laying out the rest of the instruments. Let's play it from here. Control S and save it. We're going to keep fine tuning this up. I also want to clone. I have 3 snare patterns. So we can use the first one. Here we go. Put that over here. Click it. Here we go. And if you want to give a snare more depth, you layer them up. So let's play it. We're going to start note panning these out. Because we got to bring this beat to life. And some notes don't have to be panned all the way to the left or all the way to the right. You can vary it to make it sound more real. And while you're letting the beat play, you can go ahead and add more chants. And if you need a good chant kit, you can buy my chant kit for only $7 USD, and it's 140 different chants. Now let's begin on our mixing. But before we get started, let's go over these first few rules on mixing. The first rule is to assign all instruments to a mixer. Set all channel mixer volume to 0. Mix one section of the song at a time, such as intro, hook, verse, break. Level off all instruments until everything sounds clear and clean. Add parametric EQ2 effects to all channel mixers. Now these is just the first set of rules. We want to send all of these to a mixer slot. But before we do so, I like to start off sending all my melody first, and I like to do them one at a time. So I go here, I want to start with the low chords, so that'd be the first one. So we go Control L. I can't just send them all, but I don't like it. I like to do them one at a time. And then we'll do the piano. Control L, because I'm trying to set this up right. And then we'll do the simple square. I want to keep my verse lead and my hook lead close to each other. So we're going to start with the multi-purpose synth, Control L. And then the cheap lead, Control L. So those two next to each other. We're going to do one section at a time. So we're going to take our select tool right here. And if you haven't, click this magnet and make sure it's snapped to beat. You want to do this. We're going to do the intro. So you come over here to your mixer. I'm scrolling up to go back down. Now I want to drop everything. This is the long part. Leave that alone. Okay, the first step, when you play it, is nothing. I'm going to give you a quick... Okay, for the low chords, this is how I mix it. And also, before we start, drop a wave candy so we can see. And click meter. Now the goal is not to let this go over 0 dB. We can do the loudness wars where it's 3 dB and higher, but if you do that and you got people rapping on your beat, it's not going to fit very well. So let's get into it. God damn it. So low chords. Move this knob. Click it. Move the knob up to 30%, and you will see 30 up here. simple square. We want to move that up. Try that 25. Here we go. Now the piano should be at 35. I like to mix everything low. And I like to have my kick big. Now let's go back to the low chords. Now let's add in a parametric EQ2. And we're going to put one of these on all of our instruments. Let's go back. Okay, right click, type, low pass. And we want to knock some of that low out so we can bring this down. Play it. Let's go to the piano. Give me another parametric EQ2. This piano mix is inside of my parametric EQ2 mixes. One of the kits is $5, the other one is $7. Real cheap. Here you go. You're gonna want to get it. I like to do my mixes very low to save room. For the simple square, we can drop a EQ2 on there. Since the simple square is mostly a background sound, you can mix it if you want to, but to me it sounds perfect. But what I would like to do is add a reverb on there. Reverb 2. And maybe turn the size down. So play it. And now we can raise the 4 just a bit. Raise that 4. Your next set of rules for mixing is don't overdo it with the effects such as reverb, delay. Don't mix over 0 dB. Anything above this sounds distorted and bad. Listen to commercial music or any other good producer to compare your music to, just for reference. Man, we getting a perfect mix. Everything sounding pretty good. Make sure you're watching me carefully. Each thing needs to be slowly tweaked. Okay, here we go. Now, for the next thing we're going to add in our master chain will be a soft clipper. Now, a soft clipper is a computer-friendly limiter. Basically, once the sound starts clipping, say if we throw a glitch effect in there, and this happens to jump over 0 dB, what will happen is this soft clipper will eventually smoothen it out so it won't be clipping anymore. And it don't take up no space either. And you can look at it by moving your cursor. You can do this right here, the next preset. So I'm gonna make something like that. I want this little round shape, or you can call it a pie, whatever you want to call it. So here we go. For the kick, I just went ahead and rolled the rest of the one all the way down. Remember, nothing is never final. Control S and save it. Now the next thing we're going to put on our master is Parametric EQ2. We want to go to File, Preset, and we want to drop Master Mix Track. We want to have something like this, and because we want to roll off that one. Here we go. Now here, one more thing will be for the soft and tiny piano. What we want to do is we got to try to get this to blend in. Let's go ahead and drop an EQUO right here, because this works really good. So now, when we push play, we want to hold down the analyze button. So we're going to play it in 3, 2, 1. Now what you want to do is to export this as an MP3. We want to test this song / beat on a different sound system to see how it sounds and see what we need to adjust. So let's hit Shift Control R for MP3, and then you click Save, and you start it. Now, this will conclude this tutorial. I appreciate y'all watching on YouTube. What I need for everybody to do is to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you inside the next VB tutorial.